Freeheld premiered at the Toronto Film Festival last year. Toronto famously is a springboard for Oscar contenders. If you want your film to have a chance of winning an Oscar, it has to be screened at Toronto. And Toronto was where Still Alice, Julianne Moore's previous film, screened back in 2014, where she played this woman who was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. And when I first kind of heard about Freeheld, it sounded like it was very much in the style of Still Alice, because you have Julianne Moore playing someone who's diagnosed with lung cancer at quite a late stage. And it's about her getting her affairs in order towards the end of her life. It's actually based on a true story. Around 10 years ago, a New Jersey County police detective called Laurel Hester was diagnosed with lung cancer. And as part of her job, her state pension is passed on to her significant other. Now, because she was a gay woman, the local council overruled and said that her civil partner, who's in the film is played by Ellen Page, would specifically be denied that pension. So part of preparing for death is campaigning in order for this council to kind of see past their blinkered ways, and as well as engaging with the council, she also has to engage with the local community, and part of that is with her professional partner on the police force, who's played by Michael Shannon. And here they are having a discussion about Julianne Moore's private life, which has recently come to light.
Stacie's not my roommate. She's my girlfriend.
Why the hell didn't you tell me?
Never came up. Never saw any reason to talk about it.
Remember when I found out I had a daughter?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that wasn't my proudest moment, but I told you about it. You know why? Because you count on me, right?
Yeah.
When things are happening, we get in a situation, people are reaching for their guns, you need to know what's going on with me. Am I up? Am I down? Am I distracted, in love? Whatever. Your life depends on it. In all these years, you've been holding back this part of yourself because what? Because you didn't trust me enough to say anything?
Come on, you think I
Thanks a lot.
I could have been out at work and gotten anywhere beyond the back office filing reports. You don't get it. You're straight, you're white, you're male. This is
don't
not.
give me that.
Things are handed to you. I have to fight for it. That's the way it is.
Oh, boo-hoo. So you're the oppressed minority now? Is that it?
Yeah.
That's a clip from Freeheld. The three leads in this film are fantastic, I think. Julianne Moore, Ellen Page, and Michael Shannon. And the fact that it is a true story gives it that added weight to it. It's quite a heartbreaking film, isn't it?
Well, I have to say my heart was resolutely unbroken throughout. And I think, it should be a heartbreaking film, because at the time when this was happening, this was 2005, these events were unfolding. And this was when domestic partnership, gay marriage legislation was a very, very big deal, a live issue in America. California tried to push it through and not managed. So it was a big, big talking point. And what was going on in this town was actually a story that should have enormous relevance to America at large. I think this film has an enormous number of problems, and they all kind of stem from this script written by Ron Nicewainer, who actually was the guy who wrote Philadelphia many years ago, the Tom Hanks film. I think, first of all, it doesn't treat Laurel and Stacie as real people. They don't really have much chemistry in their relationship, which is, absurd, because Julianne Moore and Ellen Page, both terrific actresses. But they never get a chance to actually show us that their relationship counts for something. They have an awkward first date, and then they have a moving in to the house together moment and painting walls and, laughing about adopting a dog.
Julianne Moore's character she has to be very protective of herself, and she's quite a harsh, hard person, isn't she?
Well, she is, but this just kind of comes across as this iron curtain that she draws across her personality whenever Michael Shannon will ask her about something. It doesn't particularly, the film treats them as if they are so obviously in the right and the local council are so obviously in the wrong that the film has no interest in grey areas and fallibilities and flaws. And these are the kind of character moments that really, I think, invest you and draw you into film. And we don't have to even disagree with Julianne Moore's character's fight for a second to be interested in her kind of wavering, her resolution wavering. So the fact that the film doesn't have any interest in incorporating into that, I think is a real kind of on the downside. Also, the structure of the story is that you have the two women who are supposedly at the heart of it being tidied off into the margins. And Michael Shannon's character becomes progressively more and more important. And I think the fact that this is a film that's supposedly about a gay woman's life experience, and then he gets moved to the sidelines and the straight guy steps up and saves the day.
I didn't feel that. I felt
really
that
shortchanging the original story.
But he had to bring the men with him. I mean, I thought that side of the film. I agree with quite a bit of what you're saying, but I think the Michael Shannon character had to bring the men from the other cops with him to to add weight to her
Oh,
argument.
sure, he does have to do that. But why is that more interesting than what's going on in the women's lives? It just seems absurd that you would tell this story about their lives and then tidy them off into the house while Michael Shannon is going around being this heroic campaigner. Then we come, speaking of heroic campaigners, then we come to Steve Carell.
Yes,
who
this is the bit of the movie that is slightly odd.
He's a gay rights activist from New York who breezes into town with a lot of placards in order to turn their story into a national news event and to draw attention towards their plight. Now, he is the exact character that you need in a film like this to say, do you know what? This story isn't just this story. It's a story that affects everyone. It's a story that affects an entire nation. And instead, Carell plays it like the comic relief. And it's like he's reprising his character from The Office, but just gay. And it's incredibly out of place. It feels like it's from a different movie. It feels like it's from an even worse movie, I think. And I don't understand what on earth the direction was behind this, because it keeps the film feeling very, very small and very, very self-satisfied and pleased with itself and doesn't really reach out to...
Yeah, tonally that really does jar, I think, is his performance. As you say, it does feel like it comes from a different type of film. The bit that I found really heartbreaking, just because I'm such a wuss really, is at the end of this movie, you've seen Julianne Moore and Ellen Page go through this terrible sort of fight for their rights, and Julianne Moore is, dying through the movie, and then at the end you get those pictures of the real people, the people who actually went through the film, through the real story, and that I found very moving. But that's probably just me.
Well, it reminds you that it's a real story.
Yeah.
It reminds you that this is something that people actually did go through, which is, I think the slightly kind of played out trick of putting photos of real people in the end credits it is quite a cheap play for your emotion. And I think if the film had before then, if it had perhaps built up a bit more of an interest in exploring who these real people really were, rather than just turning them into these ciphers that are being hard done by the local government, I would have perhaps been more interested in it. I think the problem is...
It does have a movie of the week feel to it, doesn't it, really? That's, it's sort of TV movie of the week.
When a film becomes this campaigny and this didactic, to me, that is an instant turn-off, because you want to be left to do some thinking for yourself when you see a film. You don't just want to be told, this is how the world is, this is what you have to think. Because even if it is what you think, it's annoying to be told that. I was reminded of something that Andrew Stanton, Pixar animator, who directed Finding Nemo and WALL-E, once said, which is incredibly wise. He said, in a film, do not give the audience 4, give them 2 + 2. And Freeheld is a film that gives you 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 all the way through. You just, leave something up to me. Let me be a participant in this film rather than just on the end of this wagging finger.